Hello everyone, my name's Jake and welcome back to my channel. Let me address a few things before I really start. First of all, this is a weird setup. I know it's unusual. I'm in the middle of moving again right now, so this is what you get for now. I'm sorry if the lighting's bad or whatever, but I'm trying, okay? Second of all, it has been a while since I uploaded. Probably about 3 months. Maybe more. I don't fucking know. I'm sorry. I kind of fell out of love with BookTube, and I've been falling out of love with BookTube, if we're being honest, for a while now, so I just decided to kind of put it aside for now, and I stopped watching most BookTube. Like, I just basically stopped everything BookTube related. But I'm starting to get back into it. I'm excited to film again, hence why I'm here right now filming. So we're just gonna ignore that big break. Hopefully I can start being like a normal person. There's a spider crawling on my ring light right now. We're gonna let her go though. So I apologize for that. I haven't even said what this video is yet. So this is my April wrap-up. I'm not doing a wrap-up for February and March. They were terrible reading months, to be honest. I do want to shout out my only 5-star read I read before this month, which was The Kiss Quotient by Helen Huang. That was absolutely amazing. It's my favorite adult romance now, and I love that. So I do want to shout that out. But yes, we're just going to be wrapping up April today, and I'm just going to jump into it. So the first thing I'm going to talk about that I read in April is the first 3 volumes of Deadman Wonderland. These were all rereads, so I've read the first 7 volumes of the series, I believe, and I really enjoy it. I actually just recently started taking notes while I read because my memory's shit, and it's been helping so fucking much. I think I started just in March, and even if I forget shit, I can go back and look. So I'm rereading this series because I didn't really remember much from it, and I want to continue it and finally finish. I did that, I took notes, and I enjoyed it more than I enjoyed reading it the first time. So the first volume I ended up giving 5 stars, the second volume I gave 4 stars, and the third volume I gave 3.5 stars. If I remember correctly, I had similar thoughts, kind of downhill ratings the first time I read it. Or actually, I think I raised my first volume rating and I lowered my second volume rating. But regardless, it's still really good. It follows a boy in high school, it might be middle school actually. He witnesses his whole class get murdered by a red man with powers, and he ends up getting blamed for the murder because he's the only survivor. He gets taken to this prison called Deadman Wonderland, which is basically where all these prisoners are sent and they're used as public entertainment. So they're butchered and forced to play these dangerous games in front of a live audience that a lot of them lose their lives during, just for the entertainment of the public. And it is really good if you like that kind of thing. That's really all I have to say about it. It's really good. The first book I want to talk about is The Merciless Two by Danielle Vega. I read the first book back in 2018, I believe, and I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of mindless gore. It basically followed this group of girls who start to believe another girl is possessed, so they do an exorcism on her, which is basically them just torturing her a lot. It's very gory. If that's your type of thing, I do recommend it. That being said, this second one was not good. It was entertaining in a way. It was fast for me to read. I kind of enjoyed reading it a little bit from a mindless type of way, but it just wasn't as good as the first. It basically picked up right where the first book left off, so I'm not going to talk too much about it, but I really didn't like any of the characters involved, including the characters that were from the first book. I didn't like anywhere the plot went. I didn't like literally anything. It's hard to say, because I gave it a 2 out of 5 star. I didn't give it a 1 star. But I didn't enjoy everything, but at the same time, it was written in a way where I was still kind of entertained, so it's 2 stars instead of 1 star, but it's not really good. I'm still going to continue the rest of them, though, because that's just what I do, so. Also, let me apologize now if I literally make no sense. I've been away from filming for so long that I feel so fucking weird right now, but we're just gonna roll with it. Next up was another reread, and that is The Grown Up by Gillian Flynn. Gillian Flynn. I'm fucking stupid. But anyways, I don't even know how to explain what this book's about. It's not even 70 pages. It's 60 pages, I believe, and I don't want to talk too much about it because spoilers, but it's nothing like her full-length novel, so just know that before going into it. I guess what I'll say is it follows a woman who gets roped into a psychic type of business, even though she doesn't necessarily have anything to do with that, and she gets herself into a situation she doesn't know how to handle. Sure, that's what we're gonna say, even though I don't know if that was good, but we're gonna go with that. But I gave this the same rating I gave it the first time I read it, which was 3 out of 5 stars. The only reason I reread it was because I read this a long time ago, and I feel like I was too young to really appreciate it. And reading it this time, I understood a lot more that I didn't understand back then, but I still ended up giving it the same rating, so it was fine. Maybe if it was a full-length novel, I would have enjoyed it more, but it is what it is. The next book I read was The Final Girls by Riley Sager, which was the last Riley Sager book I had to read before I read like all of his books, which is only 3 books, so not that much. But I read it. This book follows a woman who survived a mass slaying of her friends one weekend when they're out at a cabin. And she is basically just trying to live with that. And she's roped into this group of women, which there's 2 other women, not including her, called the Final Girl. So all of them have survived this big thing, being the only survivor, and that's why they're deemed the Final Girls. So she's kind of trying to figure out how to live her life. She's not really friends with these girls, like the other 2 girls in person or anything, but they know each other. One of those 3 women end up killing herself, and she kind of starts to realize maybe something's going on, and maybe she needs to figure out what the fuck's happening. I am terrible at giving plot synopsises, so you're just going to deal with what I say. You guys all probably know what this is about anyways. It's a very hyped thriller. It is definitely Riley Sager's worst thriller. I gave it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. I did enjoy reading it, so don't get me wrong. But like compared to the other 2, I kind of wish I read this one first because those other 2 are amazing. 5 out of 5 stars. Love both of them. The Last Time I Lied specifically is my fave. But this one was still good. I just feel like I would have appreciated it more if I read it before I read his other 2 works. But I liked it. I think it was pretty predictable. I didn't like a lot of the characters, which is fine, but like also it's not fine because I'm reading about these people. I want to kind of like them, or at least enjoy reading about them. But I loved the flashbacks that went back, because there is flashbacks to the night of her cabin slaying, and I'm a slasher hoe. That's like my favorite genre of horror, and I can read about it, watch it all day long. I love slashers. So that part was amazing, and honestly, I wouldn't mind a full story about that. But I enjoyed what we got. This was good. Yeah, shit. Sticking to the thriller theme, I also read You Are Not Alone by Greer Hendricks and Sarah Pekkanen. This was Lala's pick, her April pick for the, what's her book club called? I don't know, the Something Dead book club. Literally Dead? Is that what it's called? I don't know. I love Lala, so I will participate in any book club she does, and this was the pick, and I liked it. I'm just going to read the synopsis because I really don't want to spoil anything, and I feel like you should go into it knowing basically nothing. You probably know someone like Shay Miller. She wants to find love, but it eludes her. She wants to be fulfilled, but her job is a dead end. She wants to belong, but her life is becoming increasingly isolated. You probably don't know anyone like the Moore sisters. They have an unbreakable circle of friends. They live a life of glamour and perfection, and they always get what they desire. Shay thinks she wants their life, but what they really want is hers. That's all you get to know going into it. I don't know how to explain my thoughts on this book. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars, so I did enjoy it. I really liked the twist at the end. I know some people didn't, but honestly, they shocked me, and that's all I really want from a thriller. They made sense, but at the same time, I took a star off because a lot of it just felt generic thriller, which I didn't expect from it, so I knocked a star because of that, but I'm not going to waste too much time on this one because you all know about it. But I reread Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. I've read the first 2 Harry Potter books like 3 to 4 times each, and I've never continued the series, because every time I want to read it, I reread the first 2. So I'm finally continuing the series. I don't care. It's happening. I'm done. I gave a 4.5 out of 5 stars. It's good. Everyone knows Harry Potter. Cool. We all love it. We're going to move on. Now we're on to my 2 5-star reads. One of them was a reread, so we're going to talk about that one first. I read One Dark Throne by Kendar Blake. I love this series. It follows 3 sisters who basically each have a power. One's an elementalist, one's a naturalist, one's a poisoner, and they have to fight to the death to see which one's going to become the queen. We all know about it. But I think it's an underhyped fantasy series. Like, in terms of hyped fantasy series, it's one of the more underhyped ones. Like, it has hype, but not enough. It is so good. That's all. It's just so good. You guys need to read it, but I reread the second book so I can move on to the third. I like the second book more than the first. The first book is low-key boring. I actually reread it recently, and I raised it up to a 5-star, but the first time I read it, I gave it a 3-star. There's a lot of names to know and everything, so, like, after you get that, it's good. That's why, like, I put it up when I reread it, because I already knew everything going in. But we're talking about One Dark Throne right now. Amazing, show-stopping, love it, everyone should read it, read 3 Dark Crowns, it's so good. My favorite book of the month was The Guest List by Lucy Foley. This is getting a lot of hype, well, it's getting decent hype in terms of thrillers, and it deserves it. It is so fucking good. Everyone needs to read this thriller if you even kind of like thrillers. But it follows a wedding on this remote island in Ireland where it's supposed to be this perfect wedding, lots of money put into it, someone turns up dead, and everyone needs to figure out what the fuck is going on. And is someone gonna be next? Like, what's the deal with this? There is 5 perspectives, which I know throws a lot of people off, and I was hesitant going into it too, but every perspective is necessary. Like, every character has their own secrets. The way it all comes together in the end is amazing. Once again, this one shocked me. Did not expect what was happening. And it's just, it's literally so good. And it's also kind of like that Big Little Lies thing where you know someone's dead, but you don't know, like, who dies until the end of the book. So, just, it's good. It's good. That's all you guys, like, if this is the book you guys need to read after, like, this video. After everything I talked about. The guest list. Well, and 3 Dark Crowns. Just read everything I 5-star, okay? I have good fucking taste, and you guys just need to get onto that. So that concludes. That is all the books I read in April 2020. I feel like this video was absolute trash, and I feel like I forgot how to talk about books because I haven't done this in so long, so bear with me, kind of deal with it for now. So, if you enjoyed this, subscribe, like, leave a comment, do all the above. Whatever you want to do, or don't, because this was pretty bad. But I'm gonna go now. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.